According to multiple NFL insiders, the Browns are taking calls for the number 2 pick, and Dianna Russini linked Kirk Cousins to Cleveland yet again. So we're going to unpack all this on today's episode. But really quick, help me reach our draft night goal of 44,000 subscribers. I need 257 of you watching right now to do me and yourself a big favor. Click that sub button, get the best free Browns draft content available. But let's talk about the second overall pick, because there was very little chatter, buzz whatsoever for the last 3 months about the Browns trading out of number 2. And here we are on draft week, and all of a sudden, it's the talk of the town. And to me, it's interpreted as the Browns want other people to, call and pursue this second overall pick. Yesterday, we talked about ESPN's Peter Schrager mentioning the Browns trading out of number 2. Todd McShay hopped on part of my take. He talked about it as well. Dianna Russini mentioned this in a recent article of hers with everything she's hearing leading into the NFL draft, saying the Browns, Giants, and Patriots are fielding calls for the number 2, 3, and 4 picks per league sources. The majority of teams looking to move up see Colorado Travis Hunter as their target should they be able to entice one of those teams, particularly Cleveland, with a suitable package. All 3 teams are listening. But as I was saying, my reaction to all the smoke out there is the Browns are working hard to see if some team can give them an offer they can't refuse. Because every man's got a price, and you may love Travis Hunter for the Browns, and the Browns may love Travis Hunter for their team, but if one of the teams picking behind them gives them an offer they can't refuse, it could start to make too much sense for Cleveland. And we'll look at what the Browns could then pivot to. Now, I don't think anyone outside the top 10 is going to jump all the way to number 2. That's a rarity to see a team move up that much and not take a quarterback. But the reason why I'm very receptive to this idea is it's not a blue chip draft class. I don't think there are many players in this draft who are going to be perennial Pro Bowlers, jersey sellers, 10 plus years with their team. There are a lot of good players. There are a lot of starters in this class. But compared to recent drafts, I don't think it is filled with superstar talent. So if the Browns can move back a little bit, stockpile a bunch of picks, and get not the same player like Travis Hunter because he's in his own tier just as a player in general. He's a unicorn. There's no one we can compare him to. But walk away with, hey, still a good player and a lot of picks. That could be a better outcome for Cleveland in the long run. So whether it's the Browns trading out or any other team in the top 10 trading out, I think that's because they view it as the guy we get at, say, 6 versus the guy we get at 16 really isn't all that different. So if we're not going to have a huge decline in the player and we walk away with more picks, that's better for us. But as I was saying a few moments ago, it's not common for teams to trade up and not select a quarterback. The only example I can really think of a team moving into the top 3 and not getting a quarterback was in 2023 when the Texans jumped back into the top 3 to get Will Anderson after getting C.J. Stroud at number 2. So that's really all I can think of right now. I mean, there are a couple of other trades involving teams moving up, but they were all for quarterbacks. And when the receiving team knows that the purchasing team is looking for a quarterback, they're going to jack up the rent because they know there's desperation. That desperation won't be as high for Travis Hunter as it would be for a team that wanted to trade up for Bryce Young, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, thank you. So when you're taking the quarterback out of it, the price is going to go down a little bit. And if the price isn't high enough, I could see the Browns being content with, staying put at number 2 and sticking to the plan all along. But I like the idea of potentially moving back and getting a lot of future draft capital. I mean, you're not going to get as much as you got for, say, the Bryce Young trade or the Trey Lance trade. I don't think you're going to get multiple firsts unless you're moving way back in round 1. But, yeah, I'd be very much, like I said, on board with listening to calls and potentially, accepting those offers if it's a good price. And if you move back just a few spots, still get a really good quality player and get a bunch of future picks, given that Travis Hunter is such a unicorn of a player. There is a certain risk degree to taking someone that's wanting to play both sides, and that's never been done before. And maybe you just put that risk on someone else and take the safer route while still getting, a starter and getting a lot of draft picks. So unlikely that I really see the Browns pulling the trigger on a trade this close to the draft. We've never seen, I don't think, a team trade the number 2 overall pick within not 24 hours right now, maybe the time you're watching this, but like within 48 hours of the draft starting. So I'm open to it. I don't want to be a dead horse here, but man, I like the idea of you can move back. I mean, imagine if you move back, get some more picks, and still walk away with an Ashton Genty, a Mason Graham, a Will Campbell. If you trade back even further, like into the teens a little bit, you could go after Josh Simmons if you wanted to, beef up that left tackle position, or if you wanted to add a, surefire corner and Will Johnson, or if you wanted to add to your pass rush with a Michael Williams or a Donovan Ezeroku, like you can get some really good players who I think are not perennial future Pro Bowl year after year type guys, but who are going to be good starters for your team and walk away with a lot of future draft capital. So I like the idea of trading back. I don't think it's going to happen if you put a gun to my head, but I'm still on board with the idea for the right price, of course, right? But if the ball was in your court right now, would you rather just stay put at number 2 and take Travis Hunter, or say you trade back to where the Jags or the Raiders are? Because those were 2 teams mentioned by Russini that are looking to trade up. So if you wanted to trade back to, say, 5 or 6, would you be okay with, look back at that offer I just put out there for a second. Moving back 3 or 4 spots, I would say getting 2 out of these 3 things here. Would you rather have Hunter, or would you rather have Ashton Genty at 5 and a second-round draft pick? Or Mason Graham at 6 and a future first-round draft pick? Take 2 out of these 3 or Travis Hunter. I'm going to take 2 out of these 3. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about Kirk Cousins and his future, whether it's in Atlanta or in Cleveland. But first things first, a quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So if you want to go see the Cavs play in the postseason, you want to go to a Guardians game, you want to go to any other sporting event in your area, check out Game Time. With last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, one other trade thing I wanted to get to, and then Kirk Cousins, I promise. Russini also added this. Sources say the Browns and the Giants, who own the first 2 picks of the second round, are in trade talks with teams at the back end of the first round. If either team trades up, the expectation is that it would be to select a quarterback. I'm going to predict that the Giants trade back into round 1 and get Shedeur Sanders. I don't think the Browns are going to be giving up any more draft capital for a quarterback. I think at this point, they're going to kind of take their medicine a little bit after giving up so much for Deshaun Watson and just stay put at 33. If Shedeur or whatever quarterback they want falls to them, sweet. But I don't think they're going to price Sanders, Milroe, or Jackson Dart at a first-round pick this year and a future potential first or a second or a third. I don't think they're going to view that quarterback so valuable to use 2 to 3 picks on them when they can just wait and see if they get him at 33. So my prediction is Jackson Dart is the pick for Cleveland at 33. Kind of getting like Will Levis vibes a little bit, just from like the pre-draft process of a quarterback who's got some smoke really building up, leading up to the draft, doesn't go round 1, and is the first pick of round 2. So that's where I'll put my name next to. Now, let's talk about some other rumors out there involving Kirk Cousins. As Russini also said, and by the way, I'm not trying to be a Russini mouthpiece. I do think she's very good at her job and she puts out a lot of good stuff. But literally, as I was taking the elevator up to work this morning, she put out a tweet about George Kittle saying he wants to be the highest paid tight end in football per sources. And then George Kittle replied to that saying, "You have bad sources." So don't take everything by, word for word for the Bible when it comes to these insiders leading up to the draft. But anywho, so Russini also said that the Steelers, Browns, and possibly Vikings, which is very weird, could be involved in a trade involving Kirk Cousins. So let's look at this from Cleveland's perspective. Here's what Russini said kind of verbatim. The Browns, Steelers, and possibly Vikings could be involved in a Kirk Cousins trade. Minnesota is looked at as least likely scenario given its preference for J.J. McCarthy, and that Cousins would need to sign off on any trade he is involved in. It's believed that Cousins would be against any trade that involves sending him to a situation involving a young QB, similar to the situation he faced in Atlanta last year. If a trade were to happen, I'd expect it to go down on Saturday. I know it's my job to have takes and to give you my thoughts on things and to break it down. I don't know what to make of this. The Browns signed Joe Flacco. I thought that more or less killed Kirk Cousins coming to Cleveland. But somehow they are still lurking. And I wonder if they're lurking because they just feel that, hey, more is more. The more the merrier. And if Cousins' price goes down, we don't see an issue with bringing on more competition and let the best man win the job. Whether that's Joe Flacco, whether that's Kenny Pickett, whether that's Kirk Cousins, whether that's a rookie, and they want 4 quarterbacks in there, 3 with legitimate starting experience, and 1 rookie, and go duke it out. We're going to split it into quarters, and we're going to see who comes out on top at the end of August. That's really the only way I can make sense of this. I don't have the answer. I wish I could come in here going, all right, guys, here's what's going on. No, I'm kind of just like you right now. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. We talked about it a ton. Just, make up or shut up at this point. So I'm willing to believe that Cousins can be a good starting quarterback still. I know the last 5 games in Atlanta were awful. They were putrid, but I'm willing to accept the injury factor for that reason. Played through his shoulder and an elbow injury, coming off an Achilles injury. Come September, 37 years old, hopefully a clean bill of health, and he's ready to go out there and play. I felt that the signing of Joe Flacco was a reflection of after Cousins' visit in Cleveland, where I think he met with the Browns team doctor. The report from Dr. James Voos, or whoever he met with, was not, crystal and beautiful and clean. So Cleveland pivoted to plan B, which was Joe Flacco, who, by the way, in his press conference today with the Browns was like, yeah, you asked me 2 weeks ago if I'm coming back to Cleveland. I said there's no way that happens. So there was a big shift, I'd say, in Berea. And I think that was sparked by not a lot of belief that Cousins could be healthy and affordable for Cleveland. But if his price drops and the Browns just want to bring in more competition, sure, what the hell, right? All right, before we sign off, quick reminder, we are going to be live tomorrow for the NFL Draft. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have free content, free coverage, no commercial breaks during picks, pick-by-pick analysis. So come hang out with us for the 2025 NFL Draft. Let's pick a card for the recent birthday boy, Dylan Sutcliffe. Which card do you want to go with, Mr. Reed? I like that. I'm going to go with the... Oh, would you say 10 of hearts? Oh, crap. Reed said 10 of hearts. I'll go with 2 of diamonds for the number 2 pick. No, 8 of clubs. What a run for clubs lately. I'll see everyone probably, I don't know, in like 5 or 6 hours with our next video. We're just pumping them out.